Hi guys, this is Pedro Rostain again. So here I'm going to resolve the exercise number 6 from chapter 5. Actually, this exercise is a very interesting one because it is a tricky too. We can see that most part of the exercises that we have similar than this with the same results um, are given are being given the sales data too. But in this case, the sales data is missing. So we have only the information related with all the purchases and even the beginning inventory and also the ending inventory, but we don't have any sale data. So maybe that can cause a kind of confusion, but actually um, you don't need to feel confused. We're gonna solve it right now. First of all, we have to understand the exercise. In this case, if you can recognize, is that the ending inventory consists of 600 units. Those 600 units were left, they were not sold. But in this case, something clarifying that information says that 200 from each of the last three purchases. So that means from July 28th, October 3rd, and December 1st. So from those purchases dates, so 200 for each one of these groups were left. So this is a very important data that we have to recognize. So first of all, the first thing that we have to understand is actually that we are gonna discover the ending inventory, the cost of goods sold, for the inventory from the inventory cost flow methods for of the four of them. So the specific identification, the weighted average, the FIFO, and the LIFO. So I divided in columns like this, how you can see right here. In this case, to get this method, or to start off with the first method, I actually started finding the end inventory. So now, according to the exercise, so we have 600 units that are left from the last three purchases. So that's why we have just to figure it out how much in money those units represent. So, and for this, we have just to time the quantity of units that are left times the cost for every one of them, for each one. So now we have the calculation made, and we have also the end inventory cost right here. So after figuring out that, we have to find out the COGS. And in this case, it is very important to get another data, which is the quantity of units that were sold. Okay, so to get that information, we have just to subtract the total unit number minus the end inventory number or units. So the quantity left is 3,500. So that means that we have to um, obtain the COGS of this number of units. So in this case, we can start from the first one, from the big inventory. You can see here, and just we need to remind that we have to subtract 200 units for each one of the last three purchases. So that's why we have these numbers here, and we made just a calculation, time with every um, unit cost, and we got the COGS for the first method. So in the second one, also we can start to figure it out the end inventory right here, making the same calculation, but in this case, Another important data that we have to obtain is this one, the WA unit cost. You must remember that actually this method uh, needs the calculation of the average unit cost. So in this average unit cost is calculated dividing the total cost of goods divided by the total units. So now we got the average unit cost, which is 7.65, and this one is gonna be timed to all the quantities left and sold to obtain the COGS account. So you can recognize actually we made the same process for every one of them, and now we have that information finished, completed. So just to make sure we have to like add sorry this one with the end inventory units, and we can recognize that actually is the same total number. If you see the same for these ones. So we are getting okay. So in the case of the FIFO, is is a kind of tricky tool, you see. But in this case, we're gonna make in the opposite way. So we're gonna start figure it out the COGS first, and then the end inventory cost in units. So in this case, as you know, in the FIFO method, so we start selling the first purchased stuff, purchased units. So something that is helping me to um, to complete this part of the exercise correctly, actually it was having these cells here and adding these cells to obtain this number, which is 3,500, those units that were sold. So something that I made is just to complete based on this addition. You see, I mean, so I know that the first stuff sold are the first stuff purchased. So we started from the beginning, 300, 600, 640, and like this, and we recognize that actually we are not get we are not getting this number, so some units are missing. So in this case, just we have to subtract this times this, or sorry, times this to figure it out that actually 120 is the number that we are looking for. So now we have, the full um, result for the COGS, and now we have to continue with the 600 units that are left, that actually, if you see, are the result of the subtraction of this number and this one. And for the LIFO is the same method and the opposite way, you know. So the first stuff sold actually are those who were purchased at the end. So we made the same process, the same practice, if you see. So here, and we were figuring out, if you see here, so now we have this number 3,560, and so now we can understand that we need to put this number to complete the whole unit sold, which is this one. So and then we have to just calculate timing this number of units times the cost for each one of them. Then we obtain the COGS, and then also we obtain the end inventory. So if you can recognize, actually all the answers are right. And the second question is actually a tricky too, because the question says which method yields the highest net income, and probably you are trying to figure it out which is the net income of this exercise. So, and to obtain the net income, there are some data that are missing, and probably you are trying to find it out, like the gross profit and expenses. But so we don't have that information, so it will be very complicated to find it out. However, we were taught, we were actually taught during the practices before in the reading that if the COGS is low, it yields the highest gross profit and net income. So this definition is actually the answer of this question, because if we can recognize which is the lowest COGS, we can recognize that the lowest one is the FIFO method result. So if the FIFO method result has the lowest COGS, so that means it will have the highest gross profit and net income, as the definition says. So we can mark this option, and actually that is the right result. So I hope this way to do the the exercise to complete it will help you. So guys, I hope this video also is gonna be helpful for you, and just we're gonna see it in the next video. Thank you.